Oh, thank you. So we're going to start now. Distinguished guests, distinguished HoloBase users, and all friends, I'm happy to welcome your participation in HoloBase Online event. I'm Linda from HoloBase team. Welcome. This is the second event of our online events. The theme of our series of events is changes and opportunities in the post-pandemic era in Southeast Asia. And today, we will talk about the current situation and changes in venture capital in Southeast Asia after the pandemic. I have to say that I'm so glad to see you participating in our last meeting, and some of you even come back to this meeting. Sorry, I have to unmute everyone first. And sorry, I forgot. And if you wanna talk in the Q&A session, you can push the heads up button, and I will unmute you. Thank you for your cooperation. Sorry. So let's get started, and all of you can hear me, right? Let's get started. Southeast Asia is undoubtedly the hottest venture capital market in the world in 2019. According to Prechen and Vertex reports on global venture capital, Grab and Gojek set funding records for 2019 with over $1.4 billion and $920 million and shook the world. And these performances are just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the market potential in Southeast Asia. Standing at this point of time, the potential of Southeast Asia is about to be proven unleashed. However, a sudden plague in 2020 spared none of the global markets, including Southeast Asian market. So what new opportunities will emerge for Southeast Asian venture capital in the post-pandemic era? Today, we're joined by Jonathan Zhong, the founding partner of ATM Capital, who has been a long-time observer of the Southeast Asian market, as well as a local entrepreneur, Jonathan Tan, to share his view. So first, allow me to briefly explain the meeting agenda. As usual, for this online meeting, our speaker, Mr. Zhong, will first start with a presentation sharing his insights on the current situation and changes in venture capital in Southeast Asia after the pandemic. Then a HoloBase user speaker, Jonathan Tan from Singapore, will share with us the interesting market trends from Southeast Asia for about 10 minutes. At last, there will be a 10-minute Q&A session. Today, we invited Jonathan Zhong to share with us. Mr. Zhong is the founding partner of ATM Capital. He has extensive experience in Southeast Asian entrepreneurship and internet operations. Previously, Jonathan had more than 10 years of working experience overseas, 5 of which were in Southeast Asia. Jonathan is the first country manager of UC Web Indonesia. During this period, he led the team to gain more than 60% market share in the Indonesian mobile browser market and became the largest mobile browser in the region. In addition, Jonathan was the co-founder of Novel Life, a Southeast Asian mobile video live streaming platform responsible for setting up a local operations team from scratch. Novel Life business covers more than 10 countries, including Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Turkey, and has become the top 2 live streaming platform in Indonesia. In 2018, Novel Life was acquired by Douyu TV, and Jonathan successfully exceeded and participated in the funding of ATM Capital. ATM Capital is an early to growth stage venture fund rooted in Southeast Asia. The ATM Capital team consists of Chinese and Southeast Asian professionals with significant experience in investment, entrepreneurship, technology, and operations. The capital base and the team combine background and investment experiences from Alibaba, Tencent, and Financial and Meituan Dianping, and top Southeast Asian internet companies such as Rocket Internet, Gojek, and Garena. So first, let's warmly welcome our first distinguished speaker, Jonathan Zhong from ATM Capital. Stop sharing first, and please allow me a few seconds. Oh, sorry, to unmute Mr. Zhong. Sir, you can start now. Thank you.
Just you keep me on mute, right? So
yeah, we can hear you right now.
Yeah. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's actually great to be here today, meeting online with all the friends all over the world. to share a little bit over our understanding about South Asia and also our practice in last few months. So that so firstly, a little bit about ourselves. So myself actually come to South Asia about 5 years ago. I was assigned by the Alibaba as a country manager. Then after that, I co-founded the startup. Then exit to 2018. So then we come together with some of my alumni and good friends. We decide that actually it's a good opportunity to invest in South Asia. So you can see the Tony is one of our partners. He actually is that ex-Alibaba invest director. He invested on Meituan and also the Baozun, Sogo, these companies when he was in Alibaba. Jervis is an entrepreneur, serious entrepreneur. So he actually did a lot of successful distribution business in South Asia, and that's how we are coming together. So usually when we look at the South Asia, the most questions that is that South Asia is like China, like 7 to 10 or 5 to 10 years ago. I mean, depends on how you look at the country, right? So firstly, that we agree that South Asia actually is a very fast growing region, right? As a region in the world, and we have a sizable populations, which is like 600 million, 700 million something. And different countries actually have different status, especially of course if you look at the more developed market like Singapore and Malaysia, which is more advanced than China. Malaysia about similar GDP versus China, but other countries actually Libya depend in terms of development of internet, development of GDP per capita, a little bit behind. So that's why the first thing we should understand is that South Asia is not a region, it's different countries. So you should look at different countries separately because they all have different kind of culture, different kind of economic development status, and you should define a strategy in each country differently. Okay. So if you look at the South Asia together, you understand that it very in some instance, it looks like 9 years ago. If you compare it to the internet population, which is very similar, 460 million. If you compare it to those unicorns plus the valuations, so back to 10 years ago, the BAT valuation is about almost 100 billion. As of today, South Asia, if you put all the big companies together, there's also similar valuations. Right, so that's why it's give you a reference, just give you a feeling about how it looks like today. But if you look at the different sector, different verticals, you will understand that South Asia is different versus have different progress with China, because the South Asia has a later commerce advantage. So that's why the entrepreneurs, the investors, and the government will be able to understand what's going to happen in the future, right? So for example, I'll give you an example that in China, we develop, let's say, e-commerce first. The second is Alipay, the payment system. After payment system, maybe after 7 years, and it comes to red hailing, right? So the red hailing services and coming to the great the penetration of the wallet, e-wallet system. Right now everyone is using e-wallet, but if you look at South Asia, especially like Indonesia or you will understand that these things happen at the same time. So you at the one side you will see the e-commerce developing, and that side you understand that the e-wallets also coming at the same time, and also red hailing actually is more early compared to the wallets. So so these things create a different ecosystem and different context of the whole ecosystem. So so that's why you should try to understand the new perspective. If you look at the e-commerce penetration as in South Asia, right now we around 3 to 4% in terms of total retail. If you mapping to China, it's almost like around 2010, something like this. And But I think that eventually that the South Asia are going to reach the same level like China, but it takes much more longer time. There are several reasons for that. One is that the foreign investment. Secondly, it's about the production, because if the products you are selling on e-commerce is not local produced, and you get taking longer for supply chain to able to to shipping the products from different country, different source. Majority, of course, come from China locally, and you distribute them on e-commerce. It takes a longer time. And the third thing, of course, is that the logistic infrastructure, right? So we understand that we still the logistic is still very underdeveloped in South Asia. In most of the countries in South Asia, it's still a long way to go. So and also payment and the people, the ownership of the bank account, the ownership of the wallet is still have a huge space to grow. That's why we understand that it will go at the same direction, but not same speed. Okay. And if you look at the other part of OTA, so OTA actually developed faster compared to early days in China. So I remember in the early days, like in China, for the C-chip started doing business, what they can do is that they actually, have a lot of promotion goals, which is on train station, on that airport, give you a physical plastic a membership card. Then by using this membership card, you are able to call in them for booking your flight. So it's like a super call center. They have like 10,000, 20,000 people for call center. But if you look at the Indonesia, let's say take a Traveloka as an example, right? So actually the people really quickly to adopt into the booking online. And the Traveloka even made made their profit out of it in much more shorter time compared to China. So yeah, because one of the reasons, because that just OTA actually is not much more less rely on the infrastructure side, on the physical infrastructure side. So that's why you're able to very quickly to educating the people to adopting new technology, as long as you can create a great value, right? So that's how it's different you should see on South Asia. So in terms of like China, after let's say developer is their own internet companies, and we understand that many of them are right now start to invest outside, start to branch outside, and start to and develop. Publish their apps worldwide. So of course we understand recently. So for example, let's like TikTok, right? Is very popular worldwide. Unfortunately, recently blocked by the India government, and also might be also under auditing by the U.S. government. But relevantly, South Asia, it's a much more let's say friendly way environment for the for Chinese investment and also the company to branch out. If you look at the the huge top internet companies in the region, like Grab, like Gojek, and Garena, Shopee SEA, you understand that all of them has a Chinese investor inside. In terms of like Tencent are in Gojek, and Alibaba is in Tokopedia, like JD is in Traveloka, and also that yeah. So you can see all of them actually has a strategic investor behind that already. But if you look at this picture, if you look at this picture, that different verticals, right? For the companies, you understand that this is a different trend. So China started from, let's say, 20 years ago. The people started doing the portal, right? So we understand that Xinlang, Soho is like a portal news portal. Then 5 years later, so we understand that there's a Tencent is coming to the picture, because they are getting people are starting communicate on each other online, and the C-chip is also emerging at that time. And after that, we understand that the people start doing doing the gaming, That's why Sendai it's come to the picture. People started watching the video, and and those are more like a pure online services. And in the last 5 years in China, we started to developing a lot of like O2O services, like sharing economy and O2O services, right? It's like a food delivery and like red hailing, and also that the like bicycle sharing is kind of, and you recently there's also mobile the power bank sharing business. So this is our let's say history how to develop it. So but if you look at the South Asia, they're doing different approach, right? So so because people already understand which part of value, which part of the business, which vertical is more valuable. That's why you be attracting the investment early, right? That's why you understand that firstly, it's all the big e-commerce companies attracting a lot of investments. And secondly is like the red hailing, right? So they are, because they can do food delivery, they can do the traffic, say transportation, they can do the payments. So that's why it becomes so valuable for attracting investment. So you understand that and those business which is more connecting to the physical transactions, connecting to the real offline life, actually are more welcomed by the investor and entrepreneur in South Asia. As a contract, you understand that South Asia's online business actually is pretty empty. It's very different versus the US, India, or China. So because US, India, China, then when people start doing internet, people start they're thinking about we do something very light, right? So we only do an app, we don't only do a website. So people are consuming content on internet. People are playing on internet. People are communication on internet. Which those are things that doesn't happen in South Asia yet. So you understand that we do not have a lot of we do not have a social network. We almost do not have a social network in South Asia. We as a local product, we are very few online video websites available. The local music is also not really developed. So we understand that actually a very big opportunities for there to develop a local part of the products. But it's only happen in big country, because to able to build a products which like a social network or the content, you need to have a big enough populations. So any country has a less than 50 million population. It might be very difficult to create a economic of scale, and to create enough audience to use in their social network apps, right? Okay, that's how we look at the market. So by actually the South Asia is not only copy what happened in China. Is by time being, we also saw a lot of innovations. Local innovations have different ideas, brilliant founders. So let me name a few. For example, that like PayFast, right? So PayFast actually it's a agent network. People are able to cash in, cash out, transfer, let's say a top up, by through another person. So actually you don't need to have a physical ATM machine or bank account to do to enjoy such very basic financial services. As of today, we should have 500,000 agents in Indonesia. So I think they're looking for also let's say expand to the outside of their Indonesia. And you also saw some investment platforms like Plan. So what they do is like they allow you to invest on gold. I mean, because of the currency is not really stable in history of South Asia. So if you are buying gold, you always get appreciations in the local currencies during the time. So in last 20 years, there may be only 1 or 2 years actually you lose money if you invest in gold, and which is very different. People has a mindset of like renminbi mindset or US dollar mindset. And you also will understand that like Migo, what they do is like they actually collecting data from satellite broadcasting and become a local digital file. Then the people can download the video from local Wi-Fi. So in this case, that they don't need to have the internet coverage, but they are able to let's say enjoy the videos and also music and even games from this kind of broadcasting format. Right. So this is it's also very interesting, let's say, very, very localized innovations we saw. So this is what we are understanding for South Asia. So in here, I try to mention a little bit about, usually the people, especially people outside of the region, has a misunderstood about the region. Firstly, is that I just mentioned it. South Asia is not one economy. It's different countries, right? So we have to understand each country differently. The second is that the majority of the users with buying power is in big cities. Usually, is the capital. So that's why when you consider your and the gap is very big. If you look at Jakarta and versus the Surabaya, which is most probably the second biggest city in Indonesia, you understand that this looks like very, very different places in one country. So that's why there's opportunity, of course, in the tier 1 cities, but there's also a lot of opportunities to serving for tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? And if your business model, which is adapting to the tier 2, tier 3 cities, and your addressable market is going to be 2 or 5 times bigger than what it used to be, right? So that's very much like this is not like China. So in China, if you like mega cities, you will find maybe more than 20 cities, more than 6 million people, and this is combined as 120 million middle class, which give you a very big playground to grow your business. But South Asia usually is only big city is the capital, so that's why you can do some business in the capital. But if you want to really grow in a certain size, you have to also consider the people below the the tier 1 cities, right? And the second thing, the third thing I want to say is that the data which we collect on South Asia mostly are not really correct. Okay, so you have to go there and try by yourself. I give you an example that Vietnam's GDP per capita is about 2,000 maybe 800 900 people US dollar. If you look at the so Indonesia is reported as almost $4,000. But if you go into the asking the people working in Ho Chi Minh City and Jakarta, understand their spending, you will understand that the people in Ho Chi Minh City get a higher startup salary, and they have a higher disposable incomes. They actually the purchasing power is bigger than in Jakarta, which is usually give you misleading you to think about how the country looks like. One of the reasons is that because the incomes inequalities in Indonesia is much more bigger compared to Vietnam, right? Okay, that's one of the reasons. And also that when you look at the South Asia, you will understand that South Asia should not using the same mindset seeing from China's angle. For example, China we used to only have Alibaba as the biggest e-commerce. Others are very, very small. But right now we say the Pinduoduo is coming, and become. I think they're gonna have like 35% market share as of today. In next year, Alibaba are going to have less than 50% market share in China right now. What we understand in South Asia looks like we're going to have a multiple e-commerce platforms supported by a different group of investors and strategic players. Looks like such coexisting of e-commerce is going to be a very long time, and we create a different ecosystem. For instance, some of the business model actually is very difficult to survive in China, like shopping rebate, right? But in South Asia, it could be happen, right? And we will see. We also very interesting to see different entrepreneurs coming. It's like, you know, we saw Chinese entrepreneurs, you know, Chinese mainlanders. We saw, you know, the Hong Kong people coming to the market doing their business. We saw, of course, you know, Singaporeans, and we saw Indians from India, that which is also doing startups in South Asia, and also Western entrepreneurs, which is graduated from Lazada and also the, you know, Rocket Internet group. So this doesn't happen in most of the countries, right? Because we always believe that the local team is better, but we understand this is going to be you know, have a different situation in South Asia. Okay, so this is what we understand about what's different there. If we look at the COVID-19's impact, so in here, actually it's a little bit update, let's say, maybe it's like one month ago's data, 2 months ago's data. So, but in here, you understand that in terms of the speed of the let's say the control the COVID separate in terms of like the able to, you know, managing the cities in a better way, we understand that actually the Singapore, Vietnam government, and also followed by Thailand, the Malaysia government has a more better, like, a mobilization power and you know, and the execution power to help them to control the COVID separate. But in terms of Indonesia, Indonesia chose a very different way, you know, in terms of like you know, control the coronavirus. Right now, they have more than 70,000, and also the data shows that they are getting, you know, more than 1,000, 2,000, you know, the patient every day, which I think government choose a way to, as a trade-off, using the, you know, public health to as a not have a financial crisis. Of course, that the COVID-19 we have a, like say have a great negative impact on most of the sectors, but they also have a very good sectors which is benefits, you know, unfortunately benefit from such you know, tragedy. We understand that the what, you know, for example, like e-commerce, we in Thailand actually a great benefit for from COVID. So their daily orders almost double compared to year before. But in Vietnam, it doesn't change too much. But if you look at Indonesia has maybe 50% growth, but it's not as good as Thailand. So so followed by the e-commerce logistics is also great, have a great you know, business, you know, the enhance their penetrations in the region. But there's lots of industries, especially retail business and offline, you know, shopping, entertainment business, restaurants, and you know, fitness center has a great you know, negative impact, but also they are learned how to adapt in the new normal, right? So as with today, you can see from the picture here that there's this is Informa. Informa is a furniture retail in Indonesia. So they actually create a live streaming you know, channel for the people, for the owner. If you want to buy something, they give you you can do live WhatsApp call, video call with the you know, the sales girl, and he will going to help you to, you know, walking around into their gallery and try to choose and fitting which kind of products which is you know, fit your need. So such thing. And also we have also this you know, the gasoline and delivery services. If you don't want to go into public you know, gas station to refill your car, you actually you can order the petrol to your home, right? This kind of things happen. More and more people are adopting this online webinars to, you know, try to you know, keep the business ongoing, and this kind of online webinar is getting so popular. So each, you know, you don't believe it's such a small, you know, webinar is going to come like 10 times more people compared to they used to be. And we also talk about, you know, what kind of business is doing to grow. We say we saw, you know, we can observe this kind of thing from two you know, different way. First way is we can look at the Of course, from the local business, you understand that the Ruang Guru is a remote education. Zoom is a remote working, right? And Google and Google Hangout, and also that the health tech help you to get more information and help you deliver the medicines. And the games and e-commerce, all these things are, there's two, let's say, attribution of these two things. First is that these things used to be only can do online. Right now, people are, stay at home, so that's why they want to kill in their times. That's why they are shopping online, they are playing online. This one kind of like things. Second part of like business is that they are replacing the offline experiences like education and also the meetings, right? So that's why this part of the vertical business actually is growing very well in the pandemic period. So if you look at the as a VC, you understand the short-term impact on investment. We understand that VC and LP actually are very, very conscious that we saw a much more slow pace of the issue, the term sheet, and also the wire money. And most of the VCs are busy with their own portfolios, try to saving of most of them, and also try to help them to raise the next round of money, right? And doing their cash flow control. And we also saw some of the monies from the primary market to flow to the secondary market, thanks of the U.S. Stock market price going rocket high, right? So that's how it looks like right now. So in this case, who will get the funding? Well, I think that clearly is who is the market leader, right? So the market leader is going to, by taking these opportunities to get more funding and acquire more market shares when everything is back to normal. And the weaker companies, which is number three, number two, might be have a very difficult time, to go through the COVID-19. So and also that which it has already have a product market fitting. This kind of companies is going to take opportunities when it's reopen. It's going to ahead of the market. So we have one of the portfolios, right? So they already they have the most difficult time in Indonesia is about which is March and April, which is only maybe 20%, 30% of the sales they used to have, but they are very quickly bounced back on May and June, almost 85% of their January sales. So so I think that the company should be not I should find all the ways to try to save themselves, right? I also saw some of the companies they have lots of shopping mall shops, stores in shopping mall. So because of the shopping mall are all closed during the pandemic, so they are actually mobilize all of their sales to be doing on social sales, selling online, Instagrams and Facebook. And eventually the miracle is that this company, it doesn't lose lose their profits during this time. So which is incredible. And I think that by even their when things get back normal, they were still able to utilize the new sales channel with their developers during this special period time. So for the long term, like say long term insurance, I think that which is the benefits get the great benefits of from this the new normal, and there will be let's say developer more advanced in like 2 or 3 years compared to what is original time frame, which is e-commerce, live streaming business, fresh food, grocery delivery, education, and online, working online office. But for some of the industries that like fintech, fintech business has a very, very tough period of time. And I think that so the founders and also the IVCs right now, we also try to figure out by eyeing that how the China come back to the normal, how I don't know, Japan, Korea, how they are doing back to their normal life, and to understand how the things were going to change. right, after the COVID. So as an overall, as a summary, I think the key takeaways from this meeting, I think it's South Asia is still the world's most compelling platform, I mean the region for investment destination. But when the global has some get caught, and you still feeling the chilling the frozen feeling in the South Asia. But South Asia, because of the young population and the dynamic of their economics, so I think that this one demonstrate like very ability to recover very quickly from the whatever is a financial crisis, and also the pandemic. I think that the investors getting more and more conservative on the startups, and the people are very careful right now. Okay, at the working capital, at cash flow, at the profitability, and also the the health, how careful of the management. Yeah, so of course, but we doesn't change our way to look at South Asia, because we thinking when we try to set up our fund, we actually are trying to look at something doesn't change during the time. For example, the e-commerce penetration getting higher and higher every year. Usually, this trend doesn't change direction. And also, for example, we having more and more people baby born every year on South Asia. Also, this thing doesn't change easily, right? So we want to invest on something that doesn't impact by the by the small instant, and also the climate, the short term measures of the region. But if you look at it in the 5 years, 7 years time, it's always have a very good result. And that's our philosophy. That's why we doesn't change or we look at the South Asia as an investment destination. Okay, so I think that's what I want to share today. Thank you very much for everyone joining. If you, I don't know, do we have gonna take some questions, or we're going to for our next program?
We'll wait till the Q&A session, and we have another speaker. Thank you.
Okay.
So thanks for Mr. Zhong's speech. It's a really refreshing and insightful speech on Southeast Asian market. If you have any questions or comments, now you can type in the chat room. HoloBase assistant will collect your questions, and we will discuss more in the Q&A session. Sorry, I have to share my screen first. Now this time we also invited one of our user speaker to share his idea. Can you see the screen? Oh, okay. Ian Tan is the CEO of Mawing Digital, which focuses on marketing technology. Mr. Tan was engineering trained and turned marketing professional since 2003. He was also based in China for 8 years and helping Chinese brands and organizations market their products and services globally. Back in Singapore, he's now helping Chinese MNCs with marketing in the Southeast Asian market, as well as working with Fortune 500 companies on their social marketing technology and data analytics systems and technology stake in China. Mr. Tan will talk about market trends and digital transformation in Southeast Asia. I will stop sharing first and unmute Mr. Tan. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. So yeah, and thanks, Jonathan. It was very insightful from an investment perspective. Hi, everyone. I'm Yenton. I'm based here in Singapore. I'm from Mawing Digital. So today I'm going to try to share with you from our own perspective on how we deal with the post-pandemic in Southeast Asia, and hopefully give some insights in what we see as a bigger picture. And feel free to chat more or understand more and share your learnings from the other regions, as I know we have a lot of different guests from different regions today. Okay. So today I'm going to talk on 4 major things over here. It's going to be a pretty short one. So really about some notable trends that we actually identified, the kind of trends that we see post-pandemic what are key things that we are actually taking note of, and hopefully it will be useful for us in terms of pivoting our business. I'm trying to also explain the influencing factors behind these trends, and hopefully it gives people a better insight in terms of the trends. It's really, besides the COVID-19 situation, which also led to certain geopolitical situation, actually trending kind of what I call Asia digital revolution, the rise of Asia digital revolution. The second part of my presentation, I'm going to share a bit more on digital transformation, what kind of opportunities that we see, as well as some of challenges that through the projects we are doing, we also identify, and hopefully we can exchange pointers and see how we can overcome them. So first of all, I think because of all this COVID, this pandemic, a lot of consumers right now actually do want brands to actually partner with relief efforts or do more and contribute more instead from a pure commercial perspective. I think that's really kind of interesting. 90% of consumers globally. I think this gives a shift to a lot of businesses like ourselves to actually do much more for the bigger region. So I just want to share a bit of what we did actually. So during the pandemic, when it hits, what we were doing is really not much business, I would say. Clients are affected, marketing budgets are cut. Then we actually try to contribute our own bit in terms of our expertise or relationships that we have. And I think I'm glad to share that we were part of this project where we actually did help Barito Pacific in Indonesia to raise around $6 million to actually connect suppliers and China, as well as donors from Southeast Asia to contribute to the National Disaster Agency, BNPB in Indonesia, charities, NGOs, and hospitals. So this is what we actually did during this period. And meaning to say, during this period of time, we actually spent our resources, our team, to do what we do best in helping to connect all these people together, and also give benefits back to the donors who are contributing in terms of their marketing and PR in terms of doing all these things. So this article is a perfect example where, because of this organization that they have been donating, we also gain them PR coverage. How do we reinvent, adapt here at Mowen Digital as well? We had a conversational AI technology that we actually use for marketing technology. However, during this pandemic, our board did mention about certain opportunities that we adapt this technology towards accessibility and contactless applications. We are quite fortunate to manage to work with the Singapore Ministry of Trade and Industry, the IPI, to actually feature our technology in terms of working with different lift manufacturers, property owners, that I've mentioned here, from Hitachi Elevators to Sabah Group, Jurong Group, which is the largest property development here, which manages all our public housing properties here and manages all their lifts. So these are actually interesting opportunities that we might not even have exposed ourselves into if we were purely doing or focusing on doing marketing only. Of course, having that experience, we are also adapting our technology to be very much industry focused in the areas of automotive, education. I know Jonathan mentioned about fintech, which is not doing very well, but I think fintech is certainly the money spending industry, at least from a solutions or service perspective, as well as hospitality, which is one of the biggest hit area that we can see all around the world. Tourism industry, hotels, everybody is not doing well because of the lack of that. But how do we help them to reinvent themselves? So those are things that we're actually interested in. Reinventing our technology and adapting our technology to the different clients that we probably have not dealt with before. Also, something I think interesting here is that we do notice that, with the upcoming trends of e-commerce and live streaming, which I'm sure everyone would be interesting. Just to share one example of what they did in Singapore. So Zouk, which is one of the largest entertainment venue, is actually repurposing their own club, the whole party area venue, into a live streaming venue. So this is really something interesting. And actually they work with people like Lazada and live streaming platform to use the place to do cloud clubbings. They are trying to rent their venues or give their venues away for live stream commerce people to do shoppertainment. So these are actually very interesting things where repivoting the technology and actually hopping onto the bandwagon for a lot of trends that we see right now. Also, one of the key things that we actually have done, interestingly, is to actually help with this particular project where IMDA, which is the Information and Communications Media Development Board in Singapore, to help to work with the Shenzhen municipal government to connect SMBs together. So Singapore, as you all would know, is a very small place in the world, and a lot of our work depends on trade. And we cannot be only looking at the Singapore market. How do we actually connect Southeast ASEAN companies and organizations together with China to bring in a bigger market? So what we actually been doing, and as Jonathan has shared earlier on, e-commerce space is very exciting. There are a lot of good innovations and also good products and services. Later, I will touch on the shift towards all this region in terms of the manufacturing and production that has shifted to all these ASEAN countries instead of purely only China, and how do we actually bring them back and sell it back to Chinese suppliers that has been actually in this business. Those are actually very interesting things that we're actually doing, and we are very happy to be also contributing part of our efforts in helping to promote and use this ASEAN, we call it the Asian SME Hub, to connect buyers in China, as B2B buyers in China, with sellers in Asia. Okay, next, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what we discussed, the key influencing factors. We all know that the COVID is actually very serious, and all around the world is a major issue. But over at Southeast Asia here, I hope that this chart is very interesting in terms of the number of deaths per million population that we really have. If you look at it, the global average that we have calculated out is probably around 71 deaths per 1 million people. Of course, in the America, in the Europe, we have very big number of deaths. But compared to that, Southeast Asia is not performing that badly. We only have 14 deaths per million, which is really amazing. And I also want to highlight one of our proud ASEAN neighbors who has done tremendously well, which is Vietnam, which has 0 deaths. This actually talks about a shift in terms of the market with this COVID, why we actually will be able to tap on opportunities here in Southeast Asia. Of course, next, I would want to also think that a lot of influencing factors in terms of all these opportunities that's created is also due to the US and China competition. I think this trade war has actually helped ASEAN nations, or at least from a perspective where ASEAN stands to come out here and actually do much more. Of course, I think it's also interesting that how Japan, European Union, Australia also come into play to see how they can actually work with Southeast Asia and align the geopolitics over here. I wouldn't go too much into the details, but I think the China-ASEAN relations is also very interesting in the whole picture of this. As I talk a bit about the Asia digital revolution as the third part of the influencing factor, I think it's quite amazing as how, as Jonathan mentioned in his presentation earlier on, is that besides only say copying or replicating technologies out there, every nation or every region has its own unique culture and social behavior. And then how do they build into innovations that we can actually bring around to the world? This Asia digital revolution is very exciting. And I just wanted to list one example over here. The Shanghai Fashion Week, which was held in March this year, went completely digital. And more than 550 brands and designers actually do it purely using green screens and AR. And they actually managed to sell still 20 million RMB in terms of the amount of products they are doing. And this is actually doable with all the supply chains and manufacturing facilities affected or impacted. Right now, you can see that actually they are doing not so badly as well. And they do still manage to sell because of the whole digital engagement, and they are able to work on all these things through a digital means. What we are doing here in terms of from Singapore as well for our own agency is also how do we actually connect this. So you can see that China is also actively working, and I must say that we are proud of, because I'm actually working on this particular project as well, as in connecting along the Belt and Road in the Southeast Asia community back to China. And how do we actually work together in bring all these innovations and exchange of talent, innovations back into China, and vice versa, with China supporting all these new innovations in terms of supply chain, investment funds, etc., to work and develop the market here in ASEAN. Okay, lastly, when I come to the this part, it will be also talking about the digital transformation here. One last thing I wanted to talk about is that I think throughout this whole digital transformation journey, I think there's a few things that we need to take on. There's our opportunities and there's really challenges. I think from our end, we do see that there's a lot of opportunities in terms of from government to micro businesses, training to deploying of digital solutions that we are trying to also get involved in or get our business or technology out there. You can see that at a government-led level, there's a lot of subsidies that's shared and stuff like that. I think these are very interesting opportunities, which did not probably was in progress, but is actually hastened or expedited during this COVID situation. The other that I talked to you about was also the geographical advantage of ASEAN as a region. We managed to actually replace, just in the first 2 months of this year, we actually replaced EU and the US as China's largest trading partner this year. So there are a lot of interesting that leads to it that shows that these are tremendous opportunities that startups or SMEs like myself would be able to tap on. However, not to mention that in this digital transformation journey, I think there's a lot of challenges as well. Resources constraint. I think just now Jonathan mentioned investors are more conservative in terms of their investments. And actually pre-COVID or late last year, you do see that in terms of tech investments, there's more than a 36% drop in terms of funding for startups. How do we deal with the kind of resources constraints? Are we able to borrow more? Are we able to loan more in terms of our R&D and development of our products to scale the company, despite all the opportunities? The other challenge, I think, is something that we ourselves faces as well, is the tech talent crunch. Over here, we actually realized that we are not able to get the talents to support the business that we are trying to grow in. Are we able to scale the business accordingly? Because there's a lack of talent that probably in the area that we are doing. You're talking about data scientists and a business analyst, which are familiar, e-commerce, which is a very new area. All these are actually problems that we face, and how do we overcome them to take advantage of all these opportunities? Okay. So lastly, I just wanted to share, this is just something that I wanted to share, will be also interesting that as Singapore, from Singapore itself, we are very proud and happy that, in terms of the exchange of information at a government level, we are actually exchanging information and technology to make sure that everybody gets the same. So we actually came up with the Trace Together app and make it an open source project so that actually everyone within ASEAN and the global community can actually use and adapt it. So this is a perfect example of how ASEAN innovation or Asia, the innovation and products can make it to the world. And even Google and Apple was actually tapping on it to understand it more, to develop their own version of a tracing app. Okay. Coming to the end of my presentation, I just wanted to also share that, and it's also actually inspired by our leaders here, the government leaders here. We are actually, it's not about who is the smartest or who is the strongest, but I think in this kind of very tough environments here, whoever is the most adaptable will actually survive. This is the law of evolution. That will be something really interesting. Okay, yeah. And to end it off, sorry, I think Linda, you want to speak. I just wanted to share a bit more of what we're actually doing here at Mowin Digital. Very quickly, we do marketing technology and we provide marketing technology. We own our own proprietary marketing technology developed in China to help a lot of MNCs with their marketing campaigns in China, as well as we provide in tandem the services that comes along to it, because there's a lot. Even with the technology, there's not of talent or implementation. That's why we actually work on providing this kind of services as well. Some of our strategic partners that we work with, I must say that we are quite fortunate in a way to get a lot of support and work with a lot of very good either business or public institutions or government institutions that we work with to actually develop our technology and work together for our technology. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. So hope to hear more, and maybe we can actually speak more at the Q&A. So thank you, Linda. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have seen many questions, so let's get straight to the Q&A session. Hello, Jonathan. Are you with us? Sorry. Due to the time limitation, I will repeat 3 questions for you. Hi. Yes. So the first question is, I see a lot of products raising funds due to the current COVID situation, like live online classes. I wonder if the situation reversed back to normal, how much of these do you think will survive? Like you mentioned, those heated industry. Great. I think there's some internet connection issue.
I think it's working. Jonathan, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. So this question is about online education, right?
Yeah, these heated industry.
Okay, I understand. So basically that for all the industry actually getting impact, no matter is like a positive or negative by the COVID, I have a principle, like a basic principle to decide. Is that the new services which is having now, so whatever is online education or online meeting, if the user experiences is better compared to the offline, and just because of the user behavior or user habits, which is result a slower adaptation, this will gonna be will be like permanent changes. People will change their behaviors. For instance, like e-commerce, right? So shopping online usually give you a better price, better varieties, and the more convenient, save your time. So once people start to shopping online, then it's difficult for them to go back. But okay, so let's use this one. Let's use this principle to look at the online education, right? So it depends on what kind of education we are talking about. So if it's education is something like VIP case, you help you find a foreigner teacher to help you increase your improve your pronunciation, improve your vocabulary, and these things usually gonna once people you try, and you are not going back, right? Okay, but if you are replacing your offline the K-12 education, that the people right now, because they cannot meet, so that's why they are able to they need to find the alternatives. That's why they're doing online. These kind of things most of it will go back to normal after the COVID pass, right? Because as a study, you still need a lot of offline time to building the trust, and also the building and get the focus of your student. And also for high school, for middle school students, if they study online and their parents cannot work, right? So basically it's not going to be a solution. So it depends on what kind of model, what kind of business on specific case by case, we should discuss how it's going to be looks like in the future.
Thank you. And another question, do you see any innovative concepts in tourism taking momentum due to the COVID-19 pandemic? Would you, as an investor, be comfortable investing in the product in this sector?
What is that product? I didn't get it.
Do you see any innovative concepts in tourism in this pandemic?
Tourism. What is tourism?
Yeah. Like
traveling,
traveling industry.
Oh, traveling industry. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, tourism. Okay. So I think basically this is it's gonna be difficult to because this is experiencing economic, right? You have to go there, try and see and try, and so that's why I think we didn't saw too much. But I think there's one thing we feel like there's robots in China. We saw many more hotels start adopting the robot to send in the food and also the products to your as a room services, which is avoid human to human contact. This kind of thing I think is getting maybe more popular, and also maybe it's more going to be adopting more about smart lockers, right? So you don't have to get your key from the receptionist, and you're able to check in by yourself. this thing maybe getting more and more popular. But I think the hotels, the tourists, like like restaurants, and also the sightseeing is difficult to replace by technology, right?
Okay. I see that Mr. Tan actually has a question for Jonathan. Why don't you ask him yourself?
Okay, sounds good. Actually, Jonathan, just now as you were mentioning, and I was talking also about this Singapore initiative, I do see a lot of opportunities in terms of these big tech giants investments into Southeast Asia. And however, I think it's also interesting, besides helping them to develop their own market, how about, do you see a lot of opportunities, or how do you see, it will be a challenge. I think the different kind of landscapes or ecosystem is different, but how do you see these Chinese tech giants help them successfully bring this good innovations, products or services back into China, where it's also a massive market and it's the, I would say, lowest lying fruit. We can't depend on China, US or European markets right now. China market, how do we actually bring them in? Or do you see there's a big opportunity for startups focusing on this area?
You mean the Chinese big companies, they are invest on South Asia, but in result they are actually build something new, something more innovative, and bring them back to China. Am I right?
Exactly.
What I think that's it's a bi-direction, right? So we actually learned from South Asia, and for example, Meituan actually just launched a new services called like pay later, right? So you can pay your mail, your food delivery end of the month, right? It's a financial services, which is very similar to Gojek's pay later. I think this service and Gojek's pay later is designed very good. So you actually spend about 5% of your money, and then you get unlimited. You get limited financing in a certain month, but you can use as much as you can up to 500,000 rupiah, which is like say how much dollar is that $20 something. Yeah, so this kind of service is getting very popular on GoFood. I think Meituan actually, because they are investor of the Gojek, the CEO also spent a big amount of time actually last month, 2 months ago in Indonesia. So let's start to push this into the market. I think is what this is all learned from South Asia. Previously, the approach we are addressing is differently. Meituan has this kind of financial services, like you can borrow the cash from them, right? But it wasn't so successful. So this some things I think we learned from they learned from the South Asia. But of course that Gojek has also learned a lot of things from Meituan, how they did the first services, right? How you do how you build up your like super app approach.
But in this instance, would you also see that Gojek or relevant Indonesian or Southeast Asia will actually be able to be involved? In terms of the technology, I think it's still quite behind, but more relevant in terms of launching a product in the Chinese market. So that was something that I'm interested to also learn. Do you see opportunities in that to launch new products at the advice? So probably setting up a Gojek in China, for example.
Well, I think still it's a very difficult market for all the foreigners come to say China market.
Yes.
So that's why I think if it's a technology, it's more easier, because we see Israel company come to US company coming. If it's Japanese company, if they have a certain technology, right? Germany company, which is need a market, it's very easy, very good to match. But if it's only for as an innovation, as a product which is easy, as a software product, usually it's easy to copy. If it's like a new let's say a software product, then it's very easy to to replicate with other players, which is a result you keep you exposing a very huge competitions. So this one I don't recommend as owning let's say model innovations. If you have technology innovations, I think it could be a good market for any company, any countries, entrepreneurs come, so take China as a destination of a market. Right.
All right.
Okay,
thank you very much,
thanks.
Jonathan. Thanks, Linda.
Thanks for Jonathan's answer. Due to the time limitation, that's all. So I have to share my screen first. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Okay, thank you all for your amazing sharings. The above is all the content of this online meeting. We're especially grateful to Mr. Zhong and Mr. Tan, and also all of our speakers for the insightful and profound thoughts. So thank you again for participating and contributing to HoloBase community. Also, thank you for overcoming the time and geographical differences to participate. After the meeting, we will sort out the content you shared and discussed and share it with other HoloBase users who did not come to the meeting. And with our Chinese users through our parent company, Geekpark, which is a leading tech media in China. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us. Thank you so much for your attention and time. Thank you.